So this here is a BlueD.Sculptures sculpt of Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat 11, and as you can see, it's a pretty much spot-on likeness of actor Cary Tagawa, who portrayed Shang Tsung in the original Mortal Kombat movie and then reprised the role for the Mortal Kombat 11 video game. And I am a big fan of his portrayal, and this head just spoke to me, so I had to buy it. I found it on eBay, and I'm not really sure if they're still there, but if you want one for yourself, just eBay search it, I guess. So I've actually had this idea for probably half a year at least. I've had two of these heads actually for just kind of laying around on my desk because I've been meaning to paint them up, but I've just never really gotten around to it. So I will always stand behind that Mortal Kombat 1 is one of the best video game movies ever made, and it was definitely the first actual good one. And part of it is because Mr. Tagawa just steals every single scene he's in as Shang Tsung, and they definitely did the right choice in bringing him back for the video game. But anyway, we're gonna get on to painting. So this is Cadian Flesh Tone, my bread and butter pretty much. Give it a little shake, grab it a little dollop, and then we paint on the skin tone. So unlike the previous video where I painted up a Carlos Oliveira head from Resident Evil 3, I used a little bit more water this time in diluting the paint. Usually I don't, but that particular paint job turned out a little bit lumpier than I expected. So I figured let's try the complete opposite this time and actually dilute it quite heavily. So unfortunately we're gonna have to do more layers this time around, but hopefully it's not gonna be too annoying. And don't worry about the paint looking a little bit speckly on the first layer. That's usually what it looks like. You don't usually start getting good coverage until like layer 2 or 3. 2 is a little bit generous, so try to get in here, and we'll just coat the lips once like so. There we go. I think that's enough for like layer 1. So we're gonna have to wait for this to completely dry, and then we'll do layer 2. So we got a nice base coat now. So now we're going to do a little dry brush just to create some different tones in the face. And you can be a little bit more precise, like have the cheeks be a little bit redder. But I usually don't really bother. I just kind of do a lighter dry brush on top to make it not look so monotone in terms of coloring. And it's pretty subtle, and this way we can kind of just go back whenever we feel like there's something to be changed. We're using a pretty dry brush here. I think we can do a little bit lighter. So I think this is a pretty good skin tone. So now we're gonna do what I'm dreading the most, which is the eyes. So his eyes are really, really small, so this is going to be a very scary thing to paint. But I want to do the eyelashes like so. So I'm going to use some gray this time, because I think white ends up looking a little bit too cartoony. Okay, so I think I did a pretty decent job with placing the whites. So now we're gonna do the blacks, and it's gonna be hard because these eyes are so tiny. We're going to detail them a little bit more with just like a little bit of hint of brown, but I'm really worried about it for now, so we're going to distract ourselves by doing something completely different. So we're going to do the eyebrows. And fortunately, the eyebrows are very well sculpted on, so we can just kind of follow the sculpted lines. And if you think these eyebrows look weird, it's because they're just kind of like laid on top of everything. I'm gonna do a lot of blending to make them a little bit more natural. So I think while we're at it, we're just gonna go ahead and do the beard and the hair as well. We're gonna go for kind of like a dark gray because we're gonna do a dry brush of lighter gray afterwards. Okay, so dry brush time. I have some light gray and we're just gonna dust it over the dark gray. We're probably gonna go in with an even lighter, like almost like white at some point. For now, let's try this. I think maybe we went a little bit too dark as like the base. I'm gonna try a straight up, like, well, not really straight up, but like very white gray. So I used some light gray as the base instead, and we're gonna very slightly dry brush some white on there instead. And I recognize that with this heavy lighting you can't really see anything regardless, but trust me, it's there. So there's something a little bit off about the skin tone, so I think we need another dry brush of something a little bit brighter. So we're gonna do it very slowly, and we're just gonna try to catch some highlights with this like lighter blend. And because we're doing it kind of over the eyebrows as well, we're actually blending in the eyebrows to the skin. And let's do the neck while we're at it, just to create a little bit more of a consistent tone with the head. I kind of missed doing this because I didn't really film it, but I added some Reichland flesh shade under the eyes to kind of accentuate them a little bit, and in this groove up here. I'm not really sure how much I like this, so I'm gonna wait until this has dried and then we're going to take another look. So it's time for some Reichland flesh shade, and we're just going to start with the lips. Try to make them stand out a little bit more, just making them darker. And we're also gonna gently shade some of these wrinkles here. Adding a little bit of Reichland flesh shade here on the ears. This looks pretty good, alright? So Shang Tsung is very old in this incarnation, so he has some liver spots that I'm gonna try to punch in, and I'm just gonna dot some Reichland flesh shade in to simulate those. So he has one. Oops. Okay, that turned out a little bit too obvious, but Yeah, mainly like here on his sides. The finishing touches with just putting a little bit of gloss on the lips and the eyes. Just adds that tiny little bit of extra realism. There we go. So here we are. Shang Tsung is completed, and I am really, really happy with how this turned out. Quite recently when I've been painting, I've been in a little bit of a... I feel like I've been in a little bit of a rut. Like, it hasn't quite turned out as good as I hoped it would be. But Shang Tsung here he just turned out so great, I think. And I am super, super happy with him. I also did repaint the hands just to match, and I added some liver spots here too. I don't know if you can really tell, but everything matches up well. I did the neck as well, some liver spots, just to make the transition as seamless as possible. But yeah, fantastic sculpt by BlueD.Sculptures, and I am super happy to have my definitive version of Shang Tsung, aka Carrick Tagawa's portrayal, in toy form. I mean, I could do like a little bit extra work here on like the robes and everything, but I don't really want to. I think green fits him perfectly fine, and it would just be so much to worry about with paint rub and all that jazz. And you know, I think this works out perfectly fine. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this painting live video, and I'll see you guys in a bit.
Welcome, traveler. I am Shang Tsung, and this is my island. I bid you welcome to explore.
Your soul is mine.